What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, we have some very, very interesting news as a reporter trips up newly crowned unified lightweight world champion Australian star boxer George Kambosos Jr., who is now 20 wins, no losses, no draws, 10 wins by way of knockout, 28 years of age, 5'9" with a 70-inch arm reach. He shocked the world when he defeated former unified lightweight world champion superstar boxer Teofimo Lopez via majority decision victory. Now, what's interesting to note here is he dropped Teofimo Lopez in the first round. He faced adversity where he was dropped in the 10th round, and ultimately he recovered and he was able to, take control of the pace of the fight again in the 11th and 12th round, and he won the fight. Okay, so he faced adversity. He dropped Teofimo Lopez. He did everything, a lot of things took place in that fight in that 12 rounds. So with that said, prior to that, we know that undefeated WBC lightweight world champion superstar boxer Devin the Dream Haney, who is 27 wins, no losses, no draws, 15 big wins by way of knockout, 23 years of age, 5'8" with a 72-inch arm reach. Devin Haney, he fought the following Saturday. So Teofimo Lopez and George Kambosos Jr., they fought November 27th in New York at Madison Square Garden. Devin Haney fought former IBF super featherweight Mexican superstar boxer Joseph Jojo Diaz December 4th, okay? But prior to his fight with Teofimo Lopez, George Kambosos Jr., he did an interview. He did two separate interviews. Now, he took to social media after Devin Haney and Teofimo Lopez went viral when they came face-to-face, and essentially they agreed to face each other next for official Undisputed, okay? Because we know Teofimo Lopez was the franchise champion, that title that was created by the World Boxing Council, better known as the WBC, President Mauricio Suleiman, and the board of 32 members. They decided to create a franchise belt, largely in due part to four-division world champion Mexican superstar boxer, who's currently now the undisputed super middleweight world champion, Saul Canelo Alvarez, who considered the face of the sport of boxing, top three best pound for pound, if not number one fighters in the world, with a record of 57 wins, one loss, two draws, 39 big wins by way of knockout, 31 years of age, 5'8" with a 70-inch arm reach. So with that said, the franchise title was created for Canelo Alvarez, who was trying to maneuver around the sport of boxing through weight classes, trying to create history and a legacy for himself in his career. For him not to have to honor mandatory challenger, mainly undefeated two-division world champion superstar boxer Jamal Lyons Only Charlo, who is now the reigning WBC middleweight champion after Canelo Alvarez was franchised and Jamal Charlo was elevated to the WBC middleweight world champion. So with that said, that's when the franchise title came into play. And then two-time Olympic gold medalist, three-division world champion, former unified lightweight world champion, Ukrainian superstar boxer Vasil High-Tech Lomachenko, he and his legendary promoter, top-ranked CEO and promoter Bob Arum, they petitioned the WBC for his title opportunity against Olympic gold medalist, British superstar title contender Luke Campbell, which was for the vacant WBC title at lightweight, to be a franchise awardee, okay? So with that said, they petitioned the WBC because four-division world champion Mexican superstar boxer Mikey Garcia vacated the WBC title at 135 and moved up to welterweight. Okay, so with that said, you had Lomachenko, you had Bob Arum and and Top Rank. They petitioned the WBC for them to be franchised. Okay, and they were awarded and obliged. Okay, so he became the franchise champion. Devin Haney was his mandatory. He never fought Devin Haney. He became the franchise champion. Devin Haney became the official WBC champion. Same situation scenario as Jamal Charlo and Canelo Alvarez. Only difference is Canelo Alvarez decided to leave the division altogether, and then Lomachenko decided to face off against Teofimo Lopez, in a unification bout, because Teofimo Lopez fought Richard Coleman, who was the IBF lightweight world champion, and he brutally knocked him out, and it was a unification bout. With that said, George Kambosos Jr. and Teofimo Lopez's first title defense, fought and beat Teofimo Lopez. Oddly enough, George Kambosos Jr. and his team said that they never petitioned the WBC to be franchised. And the initial rules for the WBC title was you can't win or lose the WBC title, okay? It was an award, it was a trophy, and it was an acknowledgement of the accomplishments within the sport of boxing. So how could George Kambosos Jr. Beating Teofimo Lopez in his Teofimo Lopez's first title defense, well, his second title defense, because he defended the IBF title against Lomachenko and he won. So his second title defense, he lost the title, and that's the biggest win in George Kambosos' career. So how is he awarded a franchise title? Well, George Kambosos Jr. did an interview with the same guy that he interviewed with prior to the Teofimo Lopez fight. After he took to social media and he stated on social media that he knew Teofimo Lopez was never going to fight Devin Haney, and that Devin Haney needed to fight him after he beat Teofimo Lopez. After Devin Haney fights Joseph Diaz, that they could fight for official undisputed. So here's what George Kambosos Jr. had to say. You can clearly hear him saying this.
Oh, yes, Devin Haney has a WBC belt as well, world champion. Give him his respect. But I look at this as a super title, a franchise belt, and yes, it's another belt. But once I beat Lopez, I want to end this undisputed stuff because I want to go fight Devin Haney straight away. That's who I'm most likely going to be targeting because everyone says they're scared of him. I'm not scared of anybody. So, I want to close that straight away and say, look, this is the undisputed champion, Kambosos. Oh, yes, Devin Haney has a WBC belt as well.
So you can hear George Kambosos Jr. expressing that he understands that Devin Haney is the WBC champion, and that the franchise title is just an acknowledgement, and the super title is not an official title. And he wants to do away with the undisputed talk. He wants to officially become undisputed, okay? He don't want any questions whether he's undisputed or who's undisputed. He wants to officially become undisputed, okay? This is what George Kambosos Jr. had to say. So suddenly, George Kambosos Jr., he started dragging his feet after Devin Haney clearly dominated Joseph Jojo Diaz, okay? After he stated that it was no other fight that made sense, it was just, it was just common sense for this fight to happen between him and Devin Haney to officially become undisputed, and he wanted to end the undisputed talk, and he wanted to have create history. There's only 6 undisputed champions in the history of the sport of boxing to hold all 4 major sanction belts, okay? Number 1 was Bernard Hopkins. Number 2 is Jermaine Taylor, who beat Bernard Hopkins. Number 3 is Terrence Bud Crawford. Number 4 is Oleksandr Usyk. Number 5 is Josh Taylor. And number 6 is Canelo Alvarez as of recently, okay? There's only 6 in the history of the sport of boxing. Teofimo Lopez was never acknowledged as the undisputed champion in the sport of boxing, and neither is George Kambosos Jr. As George Kambosos Jr., he made it clear that, he wanted to fight Devin Haney, and he wanted to do so in the Down Under, as he called it, in Australia, a homecoming fight for himself, a big fight for undisputed. Well, guess what? George Kambosos Jr. has now changed all his social media to this: undisputed. Okay? So now George Kambosos Jr. has decided that, well, he is indeed the undisputed champion. After you heard George Kambosos Jr. officially say that he wasn't undisputed, now he changed all his social media to undisputed, okay? Now he's considering himself the undisputed champion in the sport of boxing. After he acknowledged, you can clearly see right there, now he's saying that he's undisputed lightweight champion, okay? And you can clearly see in this video, okay, you hear the video from George Kambosos Jr. when he's clearly saying that he is not undisputed champion, and that he knows that he has to go through Devin Haney to officially become undisputed, and he wants to end all the talk. So listen what he had to say.
Yes, Devin Haney has a WBC belt as well, world champion. Give him his respect. But I look at this as a super top.
He said I have to give him his respect. Now listen what he says about the franchise.
A franchise belt, and yes, it's another belt. But once I beat Lopez, I want to end this undisputed stuff because I want to go fight Devin Haney straight away. That's who I'm most likely going to be targeting, because everyone says they're scared of him. I'm not scared of anybody. So, I want to close that straight away and say, look, this is the undisputed champion, Kambosos. Oh, yes.
So
Devin Haney has a
now he said that it was about legacy and entertaining the fans. Suddenly he has changed his stance to Devin Haney have to sell in his jewelry so that Devin Haney can pay George Kambosos Jr. the necessary purse he's looking for to make the big fight happen. Now George Kambosos Jr. is considering himself the undisputed champion, and now he's telling legendary promoter, top-ranked CEO and promoter Bob Arum to send him a contract to fight Lomachenko. Amazing. See how quickly the tables are turned when you feel like the ball is in your court? Amazing. George Kambosos Jr. is essentially doing his career a disservice because he's on record, and the worst thing you can happen is a camera in your face with receipts. But that's all I got for y'all. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue. Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.